Life doesn't always give warnings. Sometimes it takes everything from you and still asks for more. This is the story of a man who faced death not once, but twice. A man who lost everything yet somehow found the strength to rise again. If you've ever felt broken, defeated, or ready to give up, his journey will remind you of one truth. As long as you're still breathing, your story isn't over. Stay with me. This message will stay with you forever. Have you ever felt so broken that it felt like a part of you died? Today I want to tell you a story about a man who didn't just die once, but twice. And the lesson he learned from it will change the way you see your own struggles forever. His name was Alex. On the surface, he had it all. A great job, a loving family, a beautiful home. He was the guy everyone looked up to, the one who seemed to have figured life out. But beneath that perfect exterior, a storm was brewing. Alex was a dreamer, an entrepreneur at heart, and he poured every last cent, every ounce of his energy into a new business venture. It was his everything. He believed in it with a conviction that bordered on obsession. The pressure was immense. He'd mortgaged his house, borrowed from friends, and promised everyone a future built on this dream. He was balancing on a tightrope with no safety net below. The first major challenge came when a key investor pulled out unexpectedly. The foundation of his dream started to crack, and Alex felt the first tremor of the earthquake that was about to shatter his world. He pushed harder, worked longer hours, and sacrificed sleep, health, and family time, convinced he could hold it all together. But the cracks were getting wider. His downfall wasn't a sudden explosion, but a slow, agonizing crumble. Market conditions shifted. A competitor launched a similar product, and his business started bleeding money. Every day was a new battle, another fire to put out. He watched his savings dwindle, then disappear. The calls from creditors became relentless. The looks of disappointment from his family were like daggers to his heart. He felt like a failure, a fraud who had sold a dream he couldn't deliver. He reached his breaking point one rainy Tuesday morning. An eviction notice was taped to his door. His business was officially bankrupt. He had lost everything: his home, his money, his reputation. He felt a profound emptiness, a void where his ambition and passion used to be. It was as if the person he was, the dreamer, the builder, had died. He once read a quote that said, "Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted." At that moment, though, he just felt buried. He was numb. This was his first death. But in that silence and that complete and utter devastation, a tiny seed of a lesson began to sprout. He learned that his identity wasn't his success. His worth wasn't tied to his bank account. He was stripped bare, and for the first time he had to ask himself, without all the external things, who am I? Starting over felt impossible. He was living in a small apartment, working a menial job just to make ends meet. The shame was a heavy cloak he wore every day. But he decided to take one small step. He started waking up an hour earlier each morning, not to work, but to walk. Just walk and breathe. He started reading again, not business books, but philosophy and stories of human resilience. He reconnected with an old friend who didn't care about his failure, who just saw him as a person. That friend believed in him when he couldn't believe in himself. These small, seemingly insignificant habits started to rewire his brain. He was no longer chasing a grand outcome. He was focusing on the process, on the daily disciplines. The first sign of transformation wasn't a new business idea or a stroke of luck. It was a genuine smile. It was the moment he could look at himself in the mirror without flinching. He was slowly, quietly, rebuilding not just his life, but himself from the inside out. He was finding joy in simplicity and strength in humility. Years passed. Alex had rebuilt a modest but stable life. He had a new career, he had mended relationships, and he had found a quiet sense of peace. He thought he had learned his lesson. He thought the worst was behind him. And then life decided to test him again. The unexpected setback came in the form of a health crisis, a rare, aggressive illness that came out of nowhere. The doctors gave him a grim prognosis. The life he had so carefully pieced back together was threatened once more. This felt crueler than the first time. The financial failure was, in a way, his own doing. But this was a betrayal by his own body, by fate itself. The emotional breakdown was even more profound than before. He felt an anger and despair that dwarfed his previous loss. All his hard work, his resilience, his new perspective, it all felt like a joke. He screamed, he cried, he questioned everything. This was his second death, the death of hope. The death of the belief that things would ever be okay. A quote about resilience comes to mind. The oak fought the wind and was broken. The willow bent when it must and survived. Alex felt broken, not bent. He was ready to let the wind take him. But then, at his absolute lowest point, something shifted. Lying in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, he had his greatest realization. His first death had taught him he was not his success. This second death was here to teach him something even more powerful. He was not his circumstances. He wasn't his failure, and he wasn't his illness. These were events that happened asterisk to asterisk him, but they were not asterisk him, asterisk. The one lesson that changed everything was this. His true self was the part that was aware of it all, the observer, the consciousness that was experiencing the pain, the fear, and the despair, but was not defined by them. He realized that as long as he was that observer, he had a choice. He could choose his response. He decided not to give up, not because he was guaranteed to win, but because the fight itself was the victory. The choice to endure, to find meaning in the suffering, was the ultimate act of power. He wasn't fighting for his old life back. He was fighting for the man he had become. This time his fight was different. It wasn't fueled by ambition or ego, but by a quiet, unshakable purpose. His discipline was absolute. He followed every medical instruction, pushed himself in physical therapy, and spent hours in meditation, strengthening his mind. He found a new clarity. His purpose wasn't to build another business or achieve external success. It was simply to live each day with intention and gratitude. He started sharing his story first with other patients, then in a small blog. He spoke with a raw honesty that connected with people on a deep level. Miraculously, his health began to improve. The doctors were astounded. He not only survived, but he thrived. He built a new life, not as a businessman, but as a speaker and writer, inspiring thousands with his story of dying twice. He built a community around the idea that our deepest wounds can become our greatest strengths. His achievement wasn't measured in dollars, but in the lives he touched. So what does it mean to die twice? It's a metaphor for hitting rock bottom, not once, but multiple times. It's about losing everything you think defines you, and then, when you've just started to rebuild, getting knocked down again, even harder. Alex's story teaches us that your pain is not a punishment. It's a lesson. It's life's way of stripping away the non-essential and showing you what you're truly made of. Your struggle is a gift. It carves you, shapes you, and forces you to develop a strength you never knew you had. Without the struggle, there is no growth. And most importantly, your comeback is your power. Every time you get back up, you are rewriting your story. You are proving that you are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. I want to leave you with a final thought. There's a powerful quote that says the soul would have no rainbow if the eyes had no tears. Your struggles, your tears, your moments of death, they're all creating the colors of your own unique rainbow. They are what make your story beautiful and your spirit unbreakable. Don't be afraid of the pain. Don't be discouraged by the setbacks. Embrace them as part of your journey. You are stronger than you think, and your comeback story is waiting to be written. Never, ever give up. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who might need to hear it today.